Inspiration Nation. Hello, Lee Kemp here for another week of podcast. Both Jose Noya and Ryan Lee Kemp Boniface, we've given his terrible attendance, is here as well. How are we both, guys?
Yeah, good.
Very well, thank you.
Glad to
That was the
hear
quickest YouTube. I was going to say that was the quickest YouTube kickoff you've ever done.
I was pressing the buttons in advance. We are
carry on.
live on YouTube, as referenced by Mr. Noya there, and on TikTok. Just put Jose Noya Inspiration Nation into your Google machine. Give him a follow. You'll know when we're going live. You can get involved in the show. Right, Ryan Boniface. This might have to be a six-parter based on what you said. You've got an awesome subject for us. What is it?
Sure. So it always throws me right under a bus. The pair of you do. So my quote is more of a metaphor than a quote. I don't really know if it's bestowed to anyone or anybody owns it, but I saw a TikTok the other week and I really liked the message that it gave, and the message that it was not every lion that chased a deer caught it, but every lion that caught a deer chased it. You have to kind of give that a second. Do you want to hear it again?
Yeah, please.
Not every lion that chased a deer caught it, but every lion that caught a deer chased it.
Okay.
One more time, or are you good?
No, it's good. Hang on. I've got to go because there's an alarm going. Hold on a second.
Oh my God. What sort of an amateur setup is this?
He's trying to burn his house down to get out of the podcast.
So apparently, according to the Google, this is a traditional African proverb, but it doesn't go back to a particular individual or person.
Okay.
And the alternate slant it gives on it is success is never guaranteed, but you absolutely cannot achieve a goal without first making the effort. And I do remember you know, about 3 years ago when we were last on for this, you mentioned this particular one to me off air, and I really like it. I'll give you my views in a minute because I realised I've accidentally done a joke to myself and given myself the in before you've spoken about it. So what are your views on your own quote, Ryan, and what jumped out from probably the 100th TikTok you've seen about this one that was like, yes, that sticks?
So actually, this is the only TikTok I very rarely does a motivational quote just appear on my TikTok, but I try and save them for conversations such as this. But to me, it kind of strikes back at how many opportunities have I not taken because I didn't chase it in the first place, or how many things have I not achieved, or how many things can I achieve if I suppose I look positively about it, as long as I make sure I keep chasing the things that I want to chase and the things that I want to get. I think you have to accept that failure is part of the process. You're not going to catch the deer every time if you follow the analogy to the letter, but you won't catch a deer unless you actually try to catch the deer. So yeah, you kind of touched on it as well from where you did a quick kind of search on it, but success is never guaranteed, but success is impossible unless you try to achieve it in the first place. So yeah, that probably would have been my opener to kind of see what you guys thought about it and what your views were. Joe, is your house burning down or are you all good?
Yeah, the alarm went. I thought it's like this.
Is it the alarm on your phone?
Is that a smoke alarm? Is that or is that the carbon? I don't know. The carbon
just
one.
To check, Joe, because this could be a problem. Do you have an alarm set to tell you to take however many geriatric pills you have to take during probably multiple times in a day?
I set my phone all the time.
So I just want to check it wasn't one of those alarms, and when it went off, you forgot what it was for.
No, it's high pitched.
Okay,
definitely wasn't. That makes a difference.
It wasn't the alarm. Yeah, it's like the phone one. Is it?
And that's your geriatric pills alarm, is it?
That's the one. You know the one I mean, don't you?
So if we ever hear that, Ryan, we need to remember because he might forget.
If you hear that,
he's got to that age now.
Yeah, you know that's pill time.
Have you got the day sorter yet?
I've got all that. I need that.
That's genuinely made my day to hear you say that. Genuinely.
That means you're only going with this.
You're only another sidebar this.
I'm very aware of this.
Podcasts again.
I'm very aware of this in my head while we say this. That I'm pretty sure Grandpa Joe was birthed in the first year of the podcast, and we're not far off me being that same age. So. And would never have got a giggle like that out of Joe 7 years ago. I love it. Right.
No.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shops you don't take.
Yeah.
This is, this. I love the way it's said on the way of saying it for you as well, because it is. They don't catch everyone, but they do. They chase everyone they catch. And I've talked on this before of things I've done, and I definitely don't think I put enough into it when I did it, and gave up on things for all sorts of made up reasons I made up in my head around it that I regret now. And I'm determined. Again, you don't want to flog a dead horse, so to speak, but I'm determined when I do something, am I going to give this my all? Is that first question? And if I'm not, is it something I really want to do? And if I am going to do it, I need to make that commitment to myself to do it. And it's important. You guys know there's something I've been working on for a good couple of years now that I'm in that place, and it comes from you, Joe. I'm just enjoying the process. If something happens, it happens, but I'm just enjoying the process as I go through it and see where it gets to. And it's a classic block, and it's kind of related, but time's always the talk, isn't it? I've not got time to do that. I've not got time to follow through. I've not, I can't give that a go because I haven't got the time. We do have a finite amount of time, but we've got to decide where we spend that time and how we utilise it and how important those things are to us. This every week we make time for. I mean, today for me, so I will have done 2 coats of paint on the ceiling. I'll have done a full day at work. As you know, Ryan, you were on a call with me. I think I managed to knock out 11 meetings during the day today. So a full and then some day at work. My lunch consisted of grabbing last night's leftovers out of the fridge in a 5-minute gap between them. We're doing the podcast. I'm going to go to the shops to buy paint for doing something over the weekend. I will do probably about an hour on my little project, which is a thing I refer to later tonight. I'll also squeeze in a little bit of Xboxing, making dinner, and watching a couple of episodes of a new show I started watching. So it's full on. But all of those things are things I want to do, and it's peaks and troughs and what we do. But it would have been so easy in all of that to say, I've not got time for doing a podcast, but I know I can make the time to do it. I know I can work with it. We're here, we're doing it. It's making now. So you got to, and what I'm not advocating is that every day is you wake up and you start being productive every single minute you go away. Because in that time for me is making dinner, watching some TV with the missus, a little bit of Xbox. But it's easy to let that time squeeze happen. And some days, like yesterday, actually, I could have done a bit of my painting stuff I was doing. I was like, no, we'll just take the evening. So you've got to balance it all out. But it's so easy that time becomes that first reason to not try. And as you say, Ryan, it becomes a foregone conclusion. If you don't try, you're never going to get there with what it is. And I think it's important to remember that if something's important to you, you've got to give it a go. And if it doesn't work out, that doesn't mean it was a wrong thing to do. You just got to try the next thing and the next thing and the next thing until you get there, and one of those things will happen. That thing will happen. Whatever it is, you will catch that deer eventually, even if another 10 got away. There's someone I listen to, and then I pause a breath, on podcasting, who's actually in sales, and he talks a lot of kind of philosophy around sales, and he says he's seen so many people get disheartened that they'll try, they'll fail, and that's it. I'm done. Whereas for him, you just got to get your nose out of the way. That yes is coming, and getting the nose out of the way is part of the process, rather than nose being a blocker that weighs you down, and eventually you give up. And that's a real hard tested sales philosophy, which I think is exactly similar to what you're saying here, Ryan. I think it's such strong advice. Jose, what do you think, my
when you was
geriatric friend?
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that.
He got a little angry with that when I saw it.
I'm just trying to think, Lee. You're disrupting my thought process. You know how hard it is right now. Okay. When you were talking, another quote came to mind about this, and it was Denzel Washington's one, where he says, if you hang around the barbers long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
I like that.
You've heard that one? You heard that one? So I love this deer thing, because it's about, you just got to hang around the thing long enough, do the thing, and you'll eventually do something with it. And I was thinking also, in addition to that sometimes you're doing this stuff and you want to do it, and it doesn't work out. But when you look backwards and you connect the dots backwards, it actually makes a total sense as to what happened. Maybe the failure didn't happen. Maybe it didn't happen. We look back at our lives, you wanted things to happen, but I'm glad it didn't happen because of X, Y, and Z, right? And there's certain promotions that I'm glad that didn't happen at my work. That I'd be on a totally different path, and I'm glad it didn't happen because I wouldn't be where I am now. So chasing the deer, I think, provides us with quite a few things that we catch it, but it might sometimes we don't catch it, but actually you're not meant to have caught it because it leads you down a different path, and that's actually good. And if you catch it, great, you celebrate, and then you move on. You celebrate and you go, well, that's good, and then you take the goodness out of that. So I think there's a couple of things on that. That's where my head went to when that was going through. Yeah, any thoughts on that?
I like that. Not just like you said with your things, you know, and I know we've spoken about the specifics separately ourselves with things that could have happened and didn't, but you would have gone down that different path, and you don't know that at the time. But again, it all makes sense joining the dots backwards, and actually, it's because you were resilient and you kept going, or you pivoted, or whatever else. That wasn't just what gave up. Because I think the ultimate thing is that to lean into the analogy, not catching a deer is not fatal unless you let it be fatal.
Right.
And you've just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. And that's where you said, Joe, with it, you know, hindsight, you can start to join the dots backwards, and you really only understand the journey you're on once you get to the end of it, don't you, rather than from the start.
Yeah, and it's and I think not catching a deer is sometimes the right thing. It's so
You just
weird.
don't know it at the time.
Yeah, because how I've just linked this interesting is when I used to think of goals I used to set myself, I wanted to be really specific. I had to have a very specific outcome. You know, the vision has to be very specific. But I learned that as you go through the process, as you said, you enjoy the process because that vision starts to change and mold because, you know, you're the deer that you wanted to catch isn't the right one, right? You were chasing something that wasn't right, and then you find out by not catching it that it wasn't the right thing to have done or to have chased. And I quite like that. And I find that the deer analogy for me is you didn't catch it because the vision's slightly changed. And my vision from 10 years ago has totally changed, and it gets changed again, and it depends on life events. So I quite like this a lot actually because it's quite deep around catching and not catching, but you got to start. And I think that's the most important thing. You got to start because without starting, you won't know any of those things. And that's where I'm headed with it.
What do you think
I
here
think
in
I'd
our
say-
rambles, Gripster?
I think I'd say that a lion doesn't stop hunting because they failed, because simply it can't stop hunting because it failed. It will die, won't it? So I suppose there's a context difference in a way, but it just tries to play the point that you have to be persistent and consistent at what you're trying to do to be able to get anywhere with it, and you're not going to get it on the first try. Some people might get it on the first try, but it might take you 50 tries, 60 tries, 150 tries, but eventually you'll get there. I think it's very rare for people to go through life without rejection. I think it's quite common in life for people to be fearful of rejection and apprehensive of rejection because, don't know, you feel like you're not good enough, I suppose, in those scenarios. And everybody goes through that, even the people that you think probably don't go through that, they go through that. So, the thing's got a takeaway, so I'm not going to give it yet, but I suppose I think the challenge I would give people that listen to this is, what is the deer that you've been staring at that haven't decided to chase? Like, we all will know if we've got a deer in our lives that we should be chasing, and are we actually doing enough to chase it? And I think that'd probably be the challenge I'd give anybody that's listening or anybody that's hearing it to kind of take away and think about in their own lives.
I like that. And I was thinking, we talk about the first try thing, which is really cool. And I love the takeaway. And I think we should definitely land on that. That anything you try for the first time, you are very, very highly likely to fail at it. And I think sometimes we set ourselves up for expectation is, oh, I've got to do it great the first time. Well, the first time is never going to be great. It's just a learning process. Even when you think of, I suppose, animals chasing, the lion doesn't automatically catch its prey. It has to learn that first, and it fails tons of times, like you say, Ryan. So I really like that thing you said about the first try necessarily doesn't lead to anything. But and I think what you said around, what are you looking at? What deer are you looking at? What's the reason you haven't chased it yet? And what Lee said, I ain't got enough time, is the usual one, right? But what you could do about it then, you know, I think it's a really good thing you landed on there, Ryan. Really do.
Yeah, 100%.
Lee, Ryan, anything on that?
It's stealing my job, Jose.
You've gone very quiet. You're just staring into space.
Let me move in.
Are you chat GPTing?
I'm not ChatGPT, and actually, I'm going. Other than a quick Google at the start, where you obviously get AI straight away, I'm going AI free so far for this one. Because I'm a focused man.
Oh, are you?
I'm a focused,
Very
dedicated.
focused. Saw it in your eyes. In your eyes.
I think it's one of my biggest learnings as we've done this journey on the podcast. Is me now. You know, I don't think I realised till we started doing this talking and did this reflecting. How many things there were, or not how, that's the wrong way to put it, but there are a number of things where I'm like, I should have just kept pursuing it. And actually, I might have gone another week, month, 6 months, 12 months, whatever, and still got to the same outcome. But I'd have given myself a chance to learn more and get more of experience and more of that go to give it a go. Which I think is the thing I've taken into what I do now with everything is you know, and it's not always you just pick-headedly go through, but can you pivot, can you adapt, can you change, what do you do with it? And this kind of sums up that learning for me, which I do think is one of the biggest things I've taken for the last 7 years, and is a big part of how I approach things now, and I think I would have done differently. And some of these are things I did 15, 20 years ago, but the learnings have only started to reinforce through doing this, which has been really useful. So I say this one really does speak to me, because I think it's an area I've really changed over the last 5-10 years. And it might mean, you know, there's bits I'm working on now that still might not lead to anything, but I think my learnings are a lot stronger than they would have been if I'd have tried the same thing 10 years ago.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, you know, look back at my life, I've definitely become braver at chasing things that I wouldn't have done before, and you know, framing that failure. I used to hate failing. I used to be very frightened of failing, and now I still don't like it, but I just embrace it. And
it teaches you something, though, right?
Does, yeah.
I think you have to take the positive away.
That is, yeah. And I used to hate it before, and I know it's learned or anything, but that's the key. And again, tennis is for me, tennis is just emphasizing all that. Just emphasize it massively. So I'm just glad I'm doing that, and you know, enhancing my coaching as well at the same time. And there's so many lessons. It's crazy. So you do learn by, as you said, going back to your quote, Ryan, by the chase. You know, whether you catch it or not, you are going to learn something about yourself.
And where do you think you are, Ryan, to round us off with this? Is this something you embody and why it jumped out to you, or something you're like, oh, maybe I need to do more of
that? I think anybody that is self-reflective enough to actually think about it would say that we should be chasing more. I think everybody in one way or another should probably be chasing more in some ways. I feel like, from my personal perspective, that sometimes I just need a reminder to set back up, lock back in, maybe.
yeah. And being conscious of those things is good as well, I think, because everyone needs that side. It's you, just because you know all the right things to do, or you think you're trying what some of the best methods are, doesn't mean they stick in the head and they always come instinctively to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's just about being ready for when the right deer turns up, being ready to go and chase it, so to speak.
Absolutely.
I suppose it's really good. I really like that. How do we spot the right deer? So really, that pops my question. What is the right?
I don't think you always know, though, do you? Sometimes you don't
that's
know.
what I mean.
Just got to go with your best instinct.
Yeah, and also something that comes to my mind, really interesting, Ron. You said that you sparked my mind. I think sometimes I was just chasing far too much. And so now,
I think people sometimes chase the wrong things far too much.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but
no.
I think people chase things because they think it's the right thing to chase, because that's what everybody else chases.
100%. I totally agree. Yeah, and I think it's a very personal thing. And then I look back and you really spark that. I think sometimes it's chasing far too much. And so now it's like, I need to be, for me right now, I've got to be quite selective about what I pick. In a good way though, but be really sort of specific,
Yeah, it makes complete
as in
sense.
I want to chase that because it's something that leads to this and it leads to that. And at the minute, I'm really focused on something specific, which is really cool. And I've landed on something which I think is really fired me up, which is really cool. And it's quite simple. Well, it's simple as in how I've defined it, but it aligns very well with where I want to be right now, which is really interesting. Whereas before, there's a lot of chasing going on, but I had to do all that chasing to learn to get to where I am now. And that could evolve over the next 5 years. I might start chasing a lot because I need to, because of something else.
Will,
So
it
it's so
absolutely
funny
will.
how it, yeah, go on. You're saying.
I was going to say it will. It does. Nothing ever stands still, does it? And you just got to lean
No.
into that and be comfortable with it. Right, we're pushing on time, guys. So I'm going to ask you for
Go
some
on then.
takeaways. Jose, you go first.
Okay. My takeaway is, chase, but think about, are you chasing too much or something more specific? So mine is be chase, but what I'm saying,
Chase strategically.
but focus on the chase, but is it the right thing you're chasing for what you want to do? So don't chase everything, but be specific about what it is.
Like that.
And
On
learn
that,
from that.
if you
That's
were
cool.
a lion, you should probably go in for like the old, feebled, less than quick than everyone else steers at the back of the pack, which I told
Well,
a
yeah,
fib
because I
earlier.
save more energy, right?
I was
save more energy.
no,
I have a
but
nice meal.
you'd be the deer that was being chased, I think, in that.
Oh, I thought you was. I
analogy.
said I've been a lion. Now you say I'm a deer. Oh,
I looked up.
what are
I
you
told a
saying?
little fib earlier. I was looking. So geriatric doesn't kick in till 65. So you're okay at the moment, Jose. But what I do look forward to is the day where we keep doing this, and I can genuinely call that out on the podcast, and that will be a success when that happens. Because we've been doing
Well,
this
geriatric.
for like 17
when
years.
is that? You put a number on it. There's no such number because it depends on what you think it is.
No, there is.
I don't think there's any
an
such
actual
word.
number
No,
on it.
not for me.
There's a number.
No, there is. It's
There's
a
no
thing.
number on it for me.
Anyway,
There's no
my
number on it.
takeaway is don't give up too early. And
Yeah.
Ryan, for you,
You don't control whether you actually catch the deer. You only control whether you chase it.
love it.
The
I think
chase
that's
is your
brilliant.
responsibility.
I love that. That's a
And
fantastic
Ryan, before-
way of looking at it.
Can I butt in, please?
You got
And
like
Ryan,
30 seconds.
Right, Ryan, can you just repeat, because you left something for the audience? I want you to repeat that because it was really cool what you said about what you want to leave the audience with.
What's the deer that you've been staring at but refusing to chase? Because failure is possible if you try, but success is impossible if you don't. The people living the life you want aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who kept chasing.
So what's the question they need to take away?
What's the deer you've been staring at but refusing to chase?
Love that. Yeah, excellent.
I love that bit about the ones living the life you look at. So that's brilliant. Love all of that.
Yeah.
Out there, we want to know people's thoughts. Leave comments wherever you are on this, whatever platform you're on, whether you're on YouTube or listen to audio. Love to see your comments. Hit follow, hit subscribe, share with friends and family. That's what helps grow everything. And of course, Jose Noya, Inspiration Nation. Stick him in your Google machine. Follow him on both TikTok and YouTube, and you'll get loads of Jose during the week. What more could anybody want? I mean, I probably have too much Jose, but if you want some of that Jose, bite-sized chunks are there all the time. Just follow him. And all that's left for me to do is to count us down, and I'll say 3, 2, 1. Inspiration Nation. Catch you guys later.
Catch you guys later.
Come on, get in. No.
Whenever I do that, and I do the editing later, because I have to go right to the end and snip it at the end, there's always a still